And hello again. As you can see, I've got the Kawasaki back home at last. And it's spent the last 9 months at Liz's garage, but finally it's here. At least part of it's here. The engine's staying with Les for the time being because it's too heavy for me to manipulate and move around. It's better just to stay there for the time being. Anyway, it's here now, and today I'm going to go through the bike quite carefully. We'll look at each part of the bike and work out which parts I like, which parts I don't like, which parts we replace or change, and which parts we can stay as is. So that's what we're up to today. I've also got a big box of spares over there that I've got to go through yet. Not done that yet. And so let's begin. And so starting at the front of the bike, the front wheel looks okay. The paint was not too good. Actually, alloy needs cleaning up, and it looks like actually in the past these wheels have been painted bright green at some point and then been painted over black again. So I'm going to get that blasted off and we'll paint it a bit neater than this. Ditto the discs, look a bit warm to me. They've got quite an edge on them there, so I think they may need to be replaced. We'll see. Ditto the disc bolts. Fork sliders, looks like they've been polished at some point, but now they're corroding, so I've got to sort that out. This old chrome mudguard, not too much from, but it's not from a Kawasaki Z650, that's for sure. So that will go, and we'll fit a replica one from Z Power, I think about 150. Same as the Z1, same as the Z9 I think, so that'll go on there, no problem. Good news is that these fork tubes look like they've been replaced at some point, or re-chromed, because actually mint. There's no marks on them, no corrosion, nothing, so that's good news. We can keep that. The original brake calipers here, don't really care about them because I won't be keeping them. We'll change them. The bike really has some braided brake lines, but don't like them. They're just bare, pretty metal, so they'll corrode. You'll run the risk of them fretting against various things. They need to be really plastic coated. Also, the fittings are rusty, so they can be changed. So looking at here, yeah, the headlamp nacelle has been down the road. It's got a big dent in it, that will be changed. Looks like again the headlamp shell itself has been repainted several times. Might keep it, might not, we don't know yet. Indicators aren't too bad, but the stems are all rusty, got to change that. Slight mark on this instrument pod here, might change it, might not, we're not sure yet. A bit of rust on the chrome bezels as well. Instrumentation looks okay. Rusty handlebars, no great surprise. The bike I think originally had some horrible aftermarket gold master cylinder on it, but we'll change that. This is an aftermarket one, looks a bit tired. We'll change that too. Yeah, so far a bit of a mixed bag. And so now looking at the tank, it's clear obviously this has been repainted at some point, and it suffered from, no doubt, the very common problem with these sort of tanks, which is that the original badges here act as a rust spot. What gets behind them sits behind it for years, rusts out the bodywork, and you get a problem. So what folks do is they remove the original badges and hopefully remove the rust, fill up the gap, get it all smooth, and then slap on a decal. That's not a great problem, understandable. What's not understandable for me is why on earth would you use this sort of Triumph style badge? So if it had used a standard Kawasaki badge, I'd be quite happy to leave it as is, but with that I'm not happy at all. Don't like it, don't like it. One issue though is that it's been done quite well, and this badge is underneath the top coat, it's underneath the clear lacquer, so I can't really remove it easily without destroying the finish on the paintwork, which actually isn't bad. That's on this side, which you can't see, there's a few little marks where a few chips have happened. So my original idea was to leave it as is, even though I don't particularly like this sticker here. You know, the cost of repainting the bike is like what, £400 or £500, so you know, for the sake of a sticker that I don't like, just leave it. But now I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it and we'll decide at some later date. The filler cap is chrome, a bit rusty, we can change that, new ones are available, no great problem. And so now looking at the back of the bike, for sure these cheap shocks from China will not be staying on the bike. I have got some quite cheap and cheerful shocks from YSS which could go on the bike, but I've also got some shocks from the ZRX 1100, 1200 which might go on as well. Apparently the only problem you've got is that the springs go down further on that side, so you might have an interference problem with the chain guard, but we can sort that out another day. Back wheel, I could change it from a drum brake to a disc brake wheel. We can do that quite easily, the parts are quite cheap and available. But I think for a road bike like this, a sort of around town bike, I'm going to leave it as is. Just going to clean it all up, get it repainted, repolished, and leave it be. Then when it comes to the frame swing arm, they will need re-powder coating. We'll do that at Triple S as usual, but of course that means stripping down the bike completely. I don't want to do that yet because it means I've got a box and box and box of stuff, and it's difficult to sort of package it away. You lose parts, you'll maybe misplace a nut and bolt. I'll leave it as is for the time being, and when we know what we're doing, we're getting closer to a build start, then I'll get the frame powder coated, but not until then. What I might do though is look at the swing arm here. It's quite common to change these swing arms for one from a Z650 because they're aluminium, they're stronger, they're lighter and so on. But to be honest, I quite like this style of swing arm as is. So one thing we could do perhaps is brace this swing arm. We can make a brace, an under brace for it, out of 1-inch chrome moly tubing, welded on, and that might be a nice little upgrade to swing arm without making it look too non-standard. So that's something I'm considering. All the wiring is going to stay pretty standard. I don't want to fit an M unit to this bike, no reason to, but I will probably rewire up the main wiring harness because it looks a bit tired. But that's no problem, we can do that at some point, don't mind doing that. As for the seat, I think this might be from an SR, you know, the sort of custom version. I'm not sure, it doesn't belong on a standard F2, which is what this bike is. So I've got a choice. I can leave it, although it is looking a bit tatty, so I can't do that. Got a few rips in it. I can have it reupholstered to make it look more like a standard seat. Hopefully that's, well, it's a long waiting list, and it's at least £100, maybe £150 to get that done the way you want it, so not sure. I've just seen actually a Gilaria, is it Gilaria or Gilaria seat for sale. It's actually a replica seat from a place called, I think it's called Bob the Seat Man or something, or Bob the Seat. Look really nice, straight on here, no weight. It's about £175 from eBay, so that's a possibility. I just want to find out a bit more about those seats and do a bit of a research and find it really good and so on, but we'll see. So yeah, that's that so far. The engine of course isn't here because it's at Les's, and still not sure what to do about that. Probably give it a 750 conversion, possibly. It looks a bit second-hand, it's 41,000 miles, which isn't that high really, but you know, maybe it'll be okay. But it does look very tatty on the outside, so I want to get the outside looking nice and neat before we do anything else. I had, as my first big bike, a Kawasaki Z650, same sort of engine as this bike has, and I did 180,000 miles on it before I sold it without any problems at all. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't need to dive into the engine and rip out the you know, the crankshaft and so on, and replace the race chains that are in there, the high volt chain in particular. But we'll see. Right, so that's what I've got so far. I have also got over there a big box of spares. I'm not sure what's in it yet, so let's go and have a look at that. And so here we have the box of parts that I've got. I've got an original chromed rear fender, because that bike doesn't have that. It's got a sort of cut down one and a non-standard back end. Bit rusty, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. I believe these sell for quite a lot of money on eBay, about £100 or so. So we'll keep that for the time being. I've also got the original chromed rear chain guard. Looks a bit tatty, it's got some issues there. Good news is it's not too rusty, so I think we might keep that, possibly get it re-chromed depending on price. But as I say, if I do fit the shocks, the fatter shocks from a ZRX 1200, which I've got, it might mean I've got to cut out this little hollow here a bit more to make it fit properly. We'll see if that's a future problem. I've got the airbox. Right now the bike's got, or had, K&Ns on it, but I think I might refit that because it makes life a lot easier. And here we have the original badging in gold. The screw in, but no doubt the rust got behind it and the screws were probably rusted in place and broke when you try and get it out. I've had that before, so that's why actually they've been replaced with a sticker. It's a particular sticker, I don't like it. It's this weird Triumph-esque design. Some rather cheap and cheerful indicators, don't want that. Nice original. These are so heavy. Yeah, these are the carbs here. I suspect Mike right before me was doing some work on them because he's bolted a bit of nylon block here to the front of it for some reason. Perhaps to mount it, perhaps, so he's doing some work on it, I don't know. So we need to keep them. We've also got the original mirrors. Here we have the, yeah, not scratch it, leave them out of the way. We've got some mirrors and so on, the original shocks that are rusty. Here we have the original repainted, repainted side panels, I hope. I say, I'm not sure about the paintwork yet. I might well have it redone. It's quite expensive, but there you go. Yeah, so they've been resprayed. The badge has been removed, but the badges I've got somewhere. Yeah, they're down there. A bit tired. But these are the actual badging. Go on there like that. I should have some white centre spots that have been removed. So yeah, overall, not too bad at all. And so there we have it. So far, so good. Pretty happy with what we got. And now I want to try an idea out. So come back in a minute. And that idea is to try and use some modern, or fairly modern, brake calipers on the bike in place of those old heavy single pot calipers from the 70s. Now what I've got here is a pair of so-called gold spots from Yamaha. Feature things like, I think, XJR, let's see, XJR 1200s, 300 SPs. These are the better ones, the gold, so they're lighter than the standard blue spots. But what I might do is, I might fit these on my 1170 project, which currently has blue spots on them, and take the blue spots off and fit them on here, if they fit. So the blue spots and the gold spots are identical in terms of mounts, so I just want to see how this looks on here. That's not bad, is it? I'm not sure you can tell, but it looks like these pads are now over swept area. What I'm seeing though is that this disc is pretty damn old. It's got some wear in it. There's a lip on the edge, so I think these discs will have to go anyway. I don't want to fit aftermarket discs, sort of bigger discs, and make mounts and so on. That's a lot more too much work for me at the moment. So I'll just get some standard ones, maybe from EBC or something. Some floating discs would be nice, but I'm not sure about the cost of those and so on. So if I now try and manoeuvre this, let's see how it's. Oh, hang on, no, it won't work. No, it won't work because the back of the disc is way in the way of the spokes. So that was an idea. Good idea, didn't work. Because the back of this here, obviously these discs are probably a lot fatter than these standard discs here, which are tied to the frame, just particularly at the back, because these are only single discs. So yeah, an idea, but didn't work. So this can go back in its little box, and we'll have a think about what to do instead. Perhaps I can find some other 4 pots that are narrower, perhaps not quite as posh as them, and so maybe some Nissans of a similar bike that might fit. No doubt somebody out there on the forums and so on has done something like this, so I'll have to do a bit more research. Yeah, so an idea, but didn't work. I've now got myself covered in brake fluid, but there you go. Yeah, so that's that. Let's move on then, let's move on. And so there's a quick overview of the bike, how it sits at the moment, and my current decisions are to decide, so about the wind, I have to decide what to do about the paintwork, leave it as is, or look at having resprayed. Expensive to do, but it's something I want to try and do. What to do about the shocks, what to fit, and also of course what to do about the engine. And for the engine, I've got a choice. We just leave it as is, make it a little bit neater and tidier, paint the outside of the case and so on, back of the bike and call it quits. Or I could go strip it all down, completely rebuild the engine, not sure yet. But I have already bought something for the bike. I bought a used block from Kawasaki Z650, and if I get some new pistons for that, it'll go straight in the engine, and it's not too expensive to do, and I'll get a lot more torque out of the engine. If I don't change the head, which I don't want to do, then I won't get any big increase in horsepower at the top end, but I will get a lot more power low down in the mid-range, which is what I want for the bike. But all that is for the future. So for now then, I think I'll put the bike back in the garage for the time being and go and get warm, because it's pretty damn cold today. I hope the wind isn't too bad with the sound, because it's nothing I can do about that. And so that's it for now, and we'll see the bike again soon when I've got some work done. So for now, thanks for watching and cheers.